Hello, this is Dr. Do again. This video is outside of medicine. Continue to read the Iliad by Homer. I'm going to continue to read. At once, each captain shouted out commands to his driver. Rein the team by the trench. Good battle order now. While the men themselves, armed for full assault, leaped down and swarmed to the trench's edge on foot, and a long undying roll went up in the early dawn. Well ahead of the war cars, they reached the brink, closed the ranks as drivers backed them yards behind. But Zeus drove a swirl of panic deep in their lines, and down from the vaulting skies released a shower, raining blood. For Zeus was bent on hurling down to the house of death a rout of sturdy fighters. Children, the other side on the plains, high ground, formed around tall Hector, staunch Polydamas, Aeneas, loved by the children like a god, and Antenor's son, Polybus, Prince Agino, and Acama still unwed, 3 men in their prime, like gods who never die. Hector bore his round shield in the forefront, blazing out like the dog star through the clouds, all withering fire, then plunging back in the cloud-wrack mist and dark. So Hector ranged on, now flaring along the front, now shouting his orders back toward the rear. All of him armed in bronze of flash like lightning, flung by Father Zeus with his battle shield of thunder. And the men like guns of reapers, slashing down the reaping rows and coming closer across the field of warlord, reaching the wheat of barley. Swaths by the armful, falling thick and fast, so Achaeans and Trojans closed and slashed, lunging into each other, and neither side now had a thought of flight that would have meant disaster. No, the pressure of combat locked them head to head, lunging like wolves, and strife with wild groans exalted to see them glaring down at the melee. Strife alone of immortals, hovering over fighters. The other gods kept clear, at their royal ease, reclining off in the halls where the roofs of each were built for the age, high on rugged ridge Olympus. And all were blaming Zeus, with his storming dark clouds, because the Father decreed to hand the children's glory, but the Father paid no heed to them. Retiring peaks apart from the other gods, he sat aloof, glorying in his power, gazing out over the city walls of Troy, and the warships of Achaea, the flash of bronze, fighters killing, fighters killed. As long as morning rose and the blessed day grew stronger, the weapons hurtled side to side, and man kept falling. But just when the woodsman makes his morning meal, deep in the mountain forest, arm weary from chopping the big heavy trunks, and his heart has had enough, and sudden longing for tempting food overtakes the man and makes his sense whirl. Just at the height of morning, the Argives smashed the battalions, their courage breaking through, and they shouted ranks of cohorts on along the lines, and right in the midst sprang Agamemnon first and killed a fighter, Bionor, veteran captain, then his aide, Oilus, lashing on their team. Down from the car he'd leaped, squaring off, charging in full fury, full face straight into Agamemnon's spearhead, ramping sharp. The rim of the bronze helmet could not hold it. Clean through heavy metal and bone, the point burst and the brains splattered all inside an casket. He battered Oileus down despite the children's rage. The lord of fighters left them lying there, both dead, and their chests gleamed like bronze as he stripped them bare. Then on he went for Esus and Antiphus, killed and stripped the 2 sons of Priam, one in bastard, one royal blood, and both riding a single car, the bastard driving, the famous Antiphus standing poised beside him. Achilles had caught them once on the spurs of Ida, bound them with willow ropes as they watched their flocks, and set them free for ransom. But now it was Agamemnon, lord of the far-flung kingdoms, catching up with Aesus. He stabbed his chest with a spear above the nipple. Antiphus he hacked with a sword across the ear and hurled him from his chariot, rushing fast to rip the splendid armor off their bodies. He knew them both. He'd seen them once by the ships when the swift Achilles dragged them in from Ida. Think how a lion mauling the soft, weak young of a running deer, clamping in his massive jaws, cracking their backbones with a snap. He is stormed in, invading the lyre to tear their tender hearts out and the mother doe. Even if she is close by, what can she do to save her bones? She is helpless. Terrible trembling wrecks her body too, and suddenly off she bounds through the glades and the thick woods, drenched in sweat, leaping clear of the big cat's pounce. So not a single children could save those two from death. They fled themselves before the Argive charge. But next Agamemnon killed Pisander and combat hard Hippolochus, two sons of Antimachus, that cunning politic man whom Paris bribed with gold and sumptuous gifts, so he was the first to fight the return of Helen to red-haired Menelaus. Now powerful Agamemnon caught his two sons, riding the same chariots, both struggling to curb their high-strung team. The reins slipped their grasp, both horses panicked as Agamemnon ramped up in their faces like a lion. Both fighters shouting from their chariots, pleading, "Take us alive, Atrides, take a ransom worth our lives. Vast treasures has piled in Antimachus' house, bronze and gold and plenty of well-wrought iron. Father would give you anything gladly, priceless ransom, if only he learns we are still alive in Argive ships." So they cried to the king. City cries for mercy, but only heard a merciless voice in answer. "Cunning Antimachus, you are the man's son." Once in the children's council, he ordered Menelaus, there on an embassy joined by King Odysseus, murdered right on the spot. No safe conduct back to the land of Argo. You're his sons? Now pay for your father's outrage, blood for blood. And he pitched Pisander off the chariots onto earth and plunged the spear in his chest. The man crashed on his back as Hippolochus leaped away, but him he killed on the ground, slashing off his arm with the sword, lopped off his head, and he sent him rolling through the carnage like a dog. I'm going to stop here and continue next time. Thank you for watching.